Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel UK News. We hope you are doing great. In this video we will talk about two-tier. UK treats far-right attacks less harshly than Islamist violence, says think tank. The UK has a two-tier approach to extremism that fails to treat far-right attacks as seriously as Islamist ones, a leading think tank has said. The Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, says right-wing violence is often classified as mere thuggery by politicians, prosecutors, and the security services. Equivalent acts by Islamists would swiftly be labeled as terrorism, it says in an article in The Guardian. A week of riots across England and Northern Ireland that have targeted asylum hotels and mosques have been fueled by neo-Nazi and extreme right activity. Elon Musk, the owner of X, and the Reform UK party leader, Nigel Farage, have claimed that Keir Starmer's government is implementing a two-tier criminal justice system, with predominantly white rioters treated more harshly than non-white counter-protesters. A man is detained by police amid far-right disorder in Middlesbrough on Sunday. England riots, how has two-tier policing myth become widespread? Read more. An article written by the directors of RUSI says a different double standard has been exposed by this summer's riots, which has allowed far-right activity to flourish. RUSI's research suggests that the nature of far-right violence, which is often seen as low-impact and disjointed, coupled with institutional bias and racism, means that far-right violence has historically not triggered the same responses from politicians, security services, and the media as jihadist violent extremism. There exists a clear double standard, or two-tier approach, in how different forms of extremism are addressed, particularly when comparing security and legal responses to far-right and Islamist violent extremism, the article says. Written by RUSI's acting director of the Terrorism and Conflict Research Group, Dr. Jessica White, the RUSI research fellow Claudia Wallner and its director of Terrorism and Conflict Studies, Emily Winterbotham, it calls for the threat from the far right to be redefined. Far-right motivated violence is often classified as mere thuggery or hooliganism, while similar acts motivated by Islamist extremism would likely be swiftly labeled as terrorism. This inconsistency undermines the perceived severity of far-right threats and hinders the political will and the necessary legal precedent to take equivalent action, it says. Starmer understated the politically driven actions of the far right, the authors claim, when he described an attack on a hotel housing asylum seekers as far-right thuggery. While his, Starmer's, intent was to acknowledge the ideological underpinnings of the violence, the term thuggery downplays the organized networked and ideological components of the riots, as well as the individuals and groups involved, the article says. RUSI sees merit in calls for severe incidents of far-right violence to be treated as terrorism. Recognizing severe cases of far-right violence as terrorism would align with a more equitable legal strategy, ensuring that all forms of extremism are prosecuted with the seriousness they warrant, the article says. The recent riots should be seen in the context of a pattern of violence across Europe largely ignored by politicians and the public. Similar far-right riots have occurred in Dublin in 2023 and in Chemnitz in Germany in 2018. Both in reaction to stabbings that sparked widespread anti-immigrant sentiment, with far-right groups exploiting the incidents to incite violence against migrants and refugees, it says. RUSI maintains strong ties to the defense and security community. It claims to be the world's oldest think tank, established in 1831 by the Duke of Wellington. Allegations of a two-tier system biased in favor of BAME or left-wing protesters emerged after the pro-Palestinian protests in the UK since October 7. The former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, now a Conservative leadership candidate, claimed in March that two-tier policing had governed the handling of those protests. Thanks for watching our video. Please hit the like button and subscribe the channel.